I am making a branded dracotail deck profile. Again, because I have all the stuff I need for dracotail. So all the dracotail monsters I know share one thing in common, which is when they use as fusion material, you can set a dracotail spell trap from your deck. And then each of the dragons also have an additional effect besides that. Start off with the monsters. I play 3 copies of Dracotail Mululu. Mululu has the effect of, while it's on field, it is a quick effect to fusion summon a Dracotail fusion monster from your extra deck using monster from your hand or field. If it's into the graveyard, you get set a spell or trap, and then you can target one monster your opponent controls and negate its effect. And then you negate the effect of one face of the monster your opponent controls. So I like this card because it does not actually target. Next, I play 3 copies of Lucius. Lucius has the effect that when summoned, you can then add a Dracotail monster, except for another copy of itself, from your deck to your hand. Then I play 3 copies of Dracotail Femina. Femina is basically a polymerization that you can discard at any time to use. You can discard any time in the main phase to use. Then I play 1 copy of Dracotail Pan and 1 copy of Dracotail Urgula, which I still think that Urgula is a funny name. Anyway, Pan has the effect that when sent to the graveyard's fusion material, target you can set a Dracotail spell trap, then destroy one monster then you can destroy one monster on the field. And then if a face-up fusion monster you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, those cards in the graveyard, you can place this card at the bottom of the deck, and if you do, special summon 1 non-fusion Dracotail monster from your graveyard. And then Urgula will allow you to set a Dracotail spell or trap when it uses material, then you can destroy a spell or trap on the field. And this card's in the graveyard, you can target a spellcaster Dracotail monster in your graveyard, place this card at the bottom of the deck, and you do add that target to your hand. You can only use each effect of Urgula once per turn. Let me try to center these better real quick. No, focus on my hand. That's probably better. And then moving on to the branded part, I play 3 copies of Despian Tragedy. When Tragedy is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can add a Despian monster from your deck to your hand. Or you can also banish this card from your graveyard to be able to set a branded spell or trap in your graveyard. But you can also only use one of those 2 effects per turn, and only one of the 2. So if you use the effect to search, you can't use the grave effect to set. Next, I play 1 copy of Guiding Quem the Virtuous. When Quem is summoned, you can send a Fallen of Albaz from your deck to the graveyard. And then, if a monster leaves the extra deck, you can activate Quem's effect to summon a Fallen of Albaz from the graveyard. Well, I honestly will probably end up taking Guiding Quem out of the deck for a 3rd copy of Blazing Cartesia the Virtuous. Blazing Cartesia has the effect that if you control a Fallen of Albaz, or there's one in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then, outside of that, Cartesia is just a quick effect polymerization. And then, if during the end phase, if fusion monster's in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand. You can only use each effect of Blazing Cartesia the Virtuous once per turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Fallen of Albaz. The other thing I might take out for a 3rd Blazing Cartesia is a 3rd copy of this card, which, when Albaz is summoned, discard a card, fuse it with 1 monster your opponent controls, which is a weird way for its original wording of you can fuse with 1 other monster on the field that is not yours. Okay, you cannot use other monsters you control. That's what it is. The next, I play 3 copies of Alibur the Jester Despia. When Alibur is summoned, you grab a branded spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Or, just like the Tragedy, Alibur has 2 effects and you can use one of the 2 per turn. If a fusion monster leaves your field because of an opponent's card, while this card is in your graveyard, you can activate Alibur's effect. summon it, and then negate the effect of one monster your opponent controls. I believe that the negation effect caliber does target. Yeah. You target an effect monster your opponent controls, special summon this card, and then negate that target's effect until the end of the turn. And then lastly, I play one Dramaturge and one Ad Libitum. Ad Libitum has the effect that if it's sent to the graveyard or banished as fusion material, you can target a Despia or level 8 or higher fusion monster in your graveyard or banished, special summon it. And then Dramaturge just summons itself. And if a fusion, ritual, fusion, synchro, Xyz, or link monster is summoned from the extra deck, it's either from the extra deck or just is summoned in general. If a fusion, synchro, Xyz, or link monster is special summoned, then you can target one effect monster your opponent controls, negates effects. So it's not ritual. I always think it includes ritual because of its connection to Dogmatica, as it is in fact Maximus. Because Maximus, it goes from Maximus to Dramaturge to, what was his name? Albazoa to Dispater. Isn't the Red Star line money? Anyway, moving on to the spells. I have 3 one-ofs. 1 Branded Fusion, which really isn't a one-of in this deck. 1 Branded Lost, and 1 Branded in Red. Branded Fusion lets you fusion summon using monsters from your deck, or using 2 monsters in your deck as fusion material, as long as you summon a monster that requires Fallen of Alabast's material. And then it locks you into fusion for the rest of the turn. Branded Lost makes so the activation of your cards and the effects of your cards that include the effect of fusion summon cannot be negated. Which I don't know how Ash can still negate, even though this thing says it can't. Or because it prevents their effects and activations from being negated when Ash negates the activation. But anyway, Brandon Lost also has the effect that if you fusion summon a monster, then your opponent can't activate cards or effects until the monster is summoned. So if you summon something that has an on-summon effect, such as Arthalion, your opponent can't activate cards or effects in response. And it also has the effect that if you fusion summon, you can add a Fountain of Alabaz or a monster that mentions it from your deck to your hand. And then Brandon Red lets you target a Despia or a Fallen of Alabaz in your graveyard, return it to your hand. And then you can use the optional effect to fusion summon level 8 or higher fusion monster by banishing from your hand, field, and or field to fusion summon. Then next, I play 3 copies of K2 Dracotail. K2 Dracotail lets you add a Dracotail monster from your deck to your hand. And if your opponent controls a monster, you can fusion summon 1 dragon or spellcaster monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material. You can only activate 1 per turn. Then I play 3 more copies of Branded Fusion in the form of Rahu Dracotail. Rahu Dracotail lets you fusion summon a Dracotail fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand, deck, or field. Also, for the rest of the turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon from the extra deck except for fusion monsters. You can only activate 1 Rahu per turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Branded Opening. Branded Opening has the effect that you can activate it, discard a card, not for cost, so if this gets ashed, you don't actually have to discard, to then start summon a Despia monster from your deck in defense position. Or I think it doesn't actually have to be defense position, I don't think. Okay, no, it does have to be in defense position. And then it locks you into fusion monsters. And if a fusion monster you control be destroyed by card effect, while its cards in your graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only use each effect of Branded Opening once per turn. Next, I play 3 copies of Fusion Deployment. This card also locks you into fusion monsters, but it lets you reveal a fusion monster from your extra deck and summon a monster from your deck that's name is mentioned on that fusion monster. Which in this deck is either going to be a Fallen of Alabaz or Blazing Cartesia. And then for the traps, I play 1 copy of Dracotail Flame and 1 copy of Dracotail Horn. I honestly want to play 1 more copy of each just because I really like them. But Horn lets you target an attack position monster on the field, return it to the hand or extra deck. Then you can place 1 Dracotail card from your graveyard or banish it on the bottom of the deck to then draw 1 card. And then Flame lets you target a face-up spell on the field and negates effects until the end of the turn. Then place 1 Dracotail card from your graveyard or banish it on the bottom of the deck, except for another copy of Flame, then draw one card. You can only activate one horn and one flame per turn. And that's it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck, I play one copy of dracotail. Oh boy. Gulamel. It's either Gulamel or Gulamel. And then Gulamel has the effect that when you activate a dracotail card or effect, you can target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. And then this card's in your graveyard. When 2 or more monsters are sent to the graveyard at the same time, then you can special summon this card, as long as it wasn't the damage step. However, Gulamel is banished when it leaves the field. And then next, I play 2 copies of dracotail Arthalion. Arthalion has the effect that when it's fusion summoned, you can target cards on the field or in the graveyard up to a number of monsters used from your hand for its fusion summoning. And that you turn them to the hand. And then it also has the same grave effect as Gulamel, where 2 or more are sent to the grave while it's in the graveyard, special summon itself. Then I play 1 copy of Mysterian, the Dragon Crown. This card cannot be used as fusion material, and then it loses 100 attack for each of your banished cards. If a monster uses its activated effect, or its activated effect special on itself, or a monster with the same original type, you can banish that monster and then banish all monsters on the field that same original type. I actually used this card in a game against Cyber Dragon, where my opponent didn't read this card. They summoned Nova, used Nova's effect to summon a Cyber Dragon. I chained this card's effect to banish Nova and then all their machines. And then, which I thought was actually kind of funny. And then I also play 1 copy of Secretarian Dragon. I actually really like Secretarian Dragon in this deck. Where Secretarian Dragon lets you target a dragon or a spellcaster that's in your graveyard, summon one and return the other to the deck. And then it also makes it so that while it's on the field, it negates the activated, or your opponent cannot activate the effects of dragons or spellcasters they control. And then its final effect is just like Mysterian, it loses 100 attack for each of your 100 attack and defense for each of your cards, which is kind of unfortunate. And then for the branded monsters, I play 2 copies of Albion the Branded Dragon. This card's only in here for its rave effect, but it has the effect that on summon lets you banish from your hand, field, or graveyard to fusion summon a level 8 or higher fusion monster. And then if this card, during the end phase, if this card's in your graveyard because it was sent there, you can add to your hand or set a branded spell or trap from your deck.
Does the screen show you which button is 0?
And then next, because a lot of people aren't going to like this, but it is me, so I play 3 copies of Masquerade the Blazing Dragon. This card is my absolute favorite card with all the branded cards. I don't know why, it just is. But it has the effect that while you control this fusion summon card, your opponent has to pay 600 life points to activate cards or effects. That effect does actually stack, so if you get all 3 of them out, then your opponent has to pay 1800 life points just to activate cards and effects. Which I know against some decks like Triple D, for example, they'll activate the Dark Contract with a gate. They have to pay 1800 life points. Use this effect to search, that's another 1800 life points. But this card also has the grave effect that if this card's in the graveyard and your opponent controls a fusion, synchro, Xyz, or link monster, just making sure. Okay, or a ritual. You can special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. And then next, I play 1 copy of Rinbrum the Striking Dragon, which I just now realized can't be summoned because I don't have any winged beasts in the deck. So, just now realizing this, I will be replacing one of the Fallen of Albaz in the deck with 1 copy of Tri-Brigade Mercarier. So, with that in mind, just now realized that playing this card doesn't make sense without any winged beasts in the deck. But anyway, Rinbrum has the effect that When a fusion, synchro, exceeds, or link monster activates its effect, as a quick effect, you can negate that effect. Then you can return one monster on the field to the hand. During your opponent's turn, while this card's in your graveyard, as a quick effect, you can target a Fallen of Albaz. Let's see. Target a Fallen of Albaz in your graveyard, special summon either that monster or this card, and then banish the other. And then I play one copy of Granguinol the Dust Dragon, and one copy of Dustbeam Quertus. Granguinol is mainly just in here for the reveal summon Cartesia. Well, when Granguinol is summoned, you can send one level, 5 or higher dark monster. Send a level 6 or higher light or dark monster from your extra deck or deck to the graveyard. And then during your opponent's turn, let's see, I forget what the trigger is. See, if a monster is special summoned by an opponent's activated monster effect, except in a damage step, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard, special summon a Dogmatica monster from your deck, or a Despia monster from your extra deck. Then you can only use each effect of Granguinol the Dust Dragon once per turn. Despia Quertus has the effect that during the main phase, as a quick effect, you can activate its effect, change the attack of all non-level 8 or higher fusion monsters on the field to 0. And then... And then has the effect that if it leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can special summon a Despia monster from your deck. You can special summon a Fallen of Albaz or a Despia monster from your deck. You can only use each effect of Despia Quertus once per turn. And then next I play one copy of Lubellion the Searing Dragon. Lubellion the Searing Dragon has the effect when it's summoned, you can discard a card to shuffle monsters from your field, graveyard, or banish back into the deck in order to fusion summon a level 8 or higher fusion monster. And then it can't attack when you use this effect, which doesn't really matter because usually it's shuffling itself back. And then I play one copy of Mirror Jade the Iceblade Dragon. Mirror Jade can only use this effect once every other turn. You can only control one Mirror Jade. But once per turn, as a quick effect, you can send a Fallen of Albaz fusion monster from your extra deck to the graveyard to non-target banish a monster on the field. And then if Mirror Jade leaves the field because of an opponent's card, except being returned to hand or being banished face down, then you can activate its effect, so at the end of the turn, all monsters your opponent controls are destroyed. That is it for my branded dracotail deck profile. Like I said, I'll take out a Fallen of Albaz for a copy of Mercarier so that this card can be summoned. Otherwise, it's in here just to be sent off of Mirror Jade. But other than that, if you have any ideas what I can do to improve the deck, any ideas what I'd like to see be made in the future, or decks like to see face each other, feel free to comment down below. I always read the comments. Thank you for watching if you still are.